I've had a few comments and now I've seen a few Twitter posts of people complaining of overheating with their Google Pixel 7 Pro, saying when they were doing certain tasks and activities, the phone would get hot to the touch. I just had a few comments saying that it was just anything that they were doing on the phone would cause some overheating, but a lot of the ones on Twitter were in relation to photo and videos. When they were taking a lot of video, that would be when the phone would overheat. In fact, to get to the point where the camera app would say, hey, you got to stop for now. We got to let the phone cool down. And this, of course, relates back to the Pixel 5a when people had problems with 4K video overheating the phone and some camera issues there that eventually did get resolved in software, but it is still concerning. And this is like what we said with first impressions last year with the Pixel 6, because there were those issues from the start, people are going to be hypersensitive to anything that comes out with the phone right away in regards to photo and video. Now, have I experienced any overheating? No. That's not to say that's not happening, because what we saw last year with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro is that these problems that cropped up on the phone, especially when it came to some hardware stuff, were phone by phone. So one person's phone would be okay, this group of phones might not be okay, this person's experiencing it. It's still a smattering. It's not a full-on echo chamber of people complaining of overheating, but it is something worth at least looking at, and I was trying to replicate it. Now, I did 11 minutes straight of video on here, and did it get a little warm? Yeah, but not any warmer than my iPhone gets after 11 minutes of video, than my Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra gets after 11 minutes of video. I kept the camera app open. I was taking a bunch of pictures, seeing if I could trigger that, because a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm inside and it's triggering it. I wasn't able to trigger any sort of heat or warming on the device at all. Like I said, abnormal warming to where it compares negatively to my iPhone and Samsung devices when I'm using the camera app and when I'm using video. 11 minutes, I was on TikTok, half an hour straight. YouTube videos, wasn't able to get it warm. Where I did feel that it was hot to the touch in the back of the device when it was updating multiple apps at once. That's when I did feel quite a bit of heat, like hot to the touch. Of I was like, oh boy, this thing's really heating up multiple apps. But I had that last year on my Pixel 6. I've had that on other devices. It's not abnormal or unique when it comes to just a Pixel device, that kind of heat when it was updating stuff. So I don't know if that's something that you'd want to look at. I understand, like I said, the hypersensitivity to things. The one thing that I noticed that was a carryover from an Android 13 bug that I noticed on the Pixel 6a was that when I go to the slider for brightness, it kind of glitches out on me a little bit. See how it's kind of like jittery. Not as bad as it is on the 6a, but it's still jittering a little bit to make it tough to get exactly where you want it. And is that disappointing? Should that be fixed? Yeah. Am I going to go nuts over something like that? No. Everything's going to have bugs. Everything's going to have glitches. Here's the difference for me using this device so far. The problem last year, and why I had such a hard time with the Pixel 6 and why I went absolutely nuts on that phone, was twofold. The first one was I was experiencing issues over and over again just doing things on the phone. I didn't have to seek out things on the phone in order to get to trigger bugs. I didn't have to go through 11 minutes of video on a Friday afternoon just because. I didn't have to scroll through 30 minutes of TikTok videos just because. I didn't have to try to snap a million photos just to try to trigger a problem on the Pixel 6. I just used the Pixel 6. I just opened it up with the fingerprint sensor. I just used the UI, which apparently was too much for it, and there would be system crashes. There's a difference between whether the phone is unusable just in regular, everyday tasks, and whether there are things that you have to seek out and try to replicate. Is it annoying for the people who are having it? Yes. Should it be fixed? Absolutely. If there is something overheating, like the Pixel 5a, in software, go ahead and fix that, like the 4K. If you're getting just regular overheating, doing different things, maybe you got a faulty device. That's possible as well. If it's overheating just doing anything, personally, I think you got a faulty device. Because my experience has been good, to the point where someone just said, to the point where it was lagging. It was so hot just doing regular stuff. I would go into the Play Store and make sure you're not updating several apps at once. Because if you're doing that, I think that might be causing that. Because otherwise, it's been silky smooth and really good. And I've enjoyed it. I've really been enjoying the experience so far. And like I said, what I try to do is mirror my daily usage. Because I think I'm pretty average with my usage. I don't do anything crazy with my phones. So when I can tell you that a phone's running well, it's going to be running well for a majority of people. I don't go out of my way to do a whole lot of stuff to the phone in order to get it to trigger some of these things. I tried today. I wasn't able to do it on mine. Does that mean yours isn't going to have an issue? Absolutely not. I could totally see a Pixel having an overheating problem. Happened last year, happened with several other models of the phone. So that's something that would need to be corrected in software if it's enough people that are having that, if they're able to find something that would be specific to those phones and some sort of combination of apps or what they're using in the background, plus the camera app might be misbehaving with each other, and it's something they should certainly look into. But here's what I want to see. I'm not having it. Doesn't mean you don't have it. I would like to see Google, if it's enough people, say, hey, listen, we're investigating this. Okay, we heard some people say there might be an issue here or there with one thing or the other. We're going to look into it. And if there is something, you know what? You're not going to have to wait for the November patch. If we're able to get something and figure it out and find a fix, we're going to release it as soon as possible. That's it. You've covered everybody. You've satisfied me. You've made everybody happy. Things are going to happen with devices. There's going to be bad apples in the bunch. There's going to be ones that come through that have conflicts with certain apps. There's going to be things that you find out later. It's how you address and then fix these things that makes the difference between a successful launch and a failure at launch, which is what we had last year. Just the stonewalling that we got last year and then the delay to get a fix is what the difference was. If they come out and just do that and say, you know what, we're on top of it. As soon as we get something, we're going to go ahead and get it out to you. That's it. Because I'll tell you something that's bizarre, and it's something I never thought would come out of my mouth. Using this at launch, the Pixel 7 Pro, has been a smoother experience bug and hiccup-wise than my iPhone 14 Pro this year running on iOS 16. Which my brain is still trying to process that as I say it. It makes no sense whatsoever. I'm trying out 16.0.3, if that helps out. But the 7 Pro was more launch ready this year than the iPhone 14 Pro, which is disturbing to say. But in my experience so far, it's been true. I've liked this phone. The experience has been solid. Battery life, you have to hope as it learns and we go through the next week will only improve. So that's something we're going to look at. But I wasn't able to duplicate the overheating thing with the exception of when I was updating multiple apps at once. So perhaps there's something with the background process there that has an issue, and I understand why the antennae are up. Everybody, the radar is turned all the way up to hypersensitive. And you know what? It's justified. It's justified. Google brought this on themselves because of last year. But as somebody who is also hypersensitive to problems on this device and going in with a real wait and see, I've been pleased these past couple days. Normal usage, haven't seen anything debilitating that would prevent you from getting this device. So we'll keep looking out. I was going to do the Pixel Watch video today. That's actually going to be tomorrow or the next day. I really want to dig in to this device before I give my thoughts on it. I want a more comprehensive review because there's a lot to unpack with the watch. So we'll talk about that in a couple of days. But I just wanted to get this out here because I know people are looking for what I have, my experience on this device, because they're saying, I've had the conversation with several people, and I've told a few people, it's good right now, but I am still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Every little thing I see on Twitter that's like, oh, you know what, I'm kind of having a problem with this. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then I go do it, and I don't really have that problem. I'm not having that same experience just yet. Doesn't mean you're not. Depends on how many people it is. Depends on what pops up. But we'll see. It's still wait and see, but so far, so good, at least with my unit, with the Pixel 7 Pro. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.